Forget the jargon, skip the guru talk. This is paid media for the rest of us. The podcast that gives new and accidental marketers the real talk on what works, what doesn't, and how to stop wasting budget. My name is April Borovskaya, and each week we'll break down paid media strategies so you can stop guessing and start growing. Hello, and welcome to another episode of Paid Media for the rest of us. I'm your host, April Borovskaya, and last week we talked about how your website and landing page may be impacting your ROI, especially if you are putting ad dollars behind the traffic that is coming to that website or landing page. If you're listening in via Spotify or Apple Podcasts, this is a good opportunity to circle back via YouTube because I do some good screen sharing for this episode, and it will help walk you through how to negate those search terms and how to negate those low quality display placements. Today, we're going to really get into the weeds, and I'm going to show you how to get into your Google Ads account and negate those low quality search terms, how to identify them quickly, and how to identify those low quality app placements that are wasting your budget. So let's dive in and get ready for a screen share. This is a look at how to navigate to your search term report. First of all, make sure that you are logged in into what Google likes to call expert mode. They say it as a way to scare you off from having control. It's the mode that you really should be working in if you are managing your own campaigns. You're going to usually see at the top, if you're in smart mode, an option right along here that settings, and you can click on that and it'll say switch to expert mode. It'll prompt you and say, are you sure? And the answer is yes. Do these optimizations from the expert mode. Once you are in expert mode of your Google Ads dashboard, you're going to click on campaigns, and then you'll see insights and reports, and you're going to go down to search terms. So in this view is all of the terms that people have conducted as a result of the keywords that you bid on. So these are not keywords. You're going to say, oh my gosh, April, I didn't know that I had A1 mechanical as one of my keywords. Well, that's okay. You did not. It was driven as a search term as a result of a phrase match from your keyword over here. Okay. So if you're ever curious what search term is associated, which keyword, it's in this view right here. Let's take a look at a good filter parameter of last 90 days up to yesterday as a time range, and then we're going to add some filters. So we'll do cost is greater than, we can even do $5, and conversions less than 1. So we want to know, what did we spend at least $5 on per search term, and how those that did not generate any conversions. So last 90 days, you can see that there is a lot of money that was ultimately wasted here as a result of search terms that just did not perform. So we're going to add another filter for added and excluded, because I've done some work in this already, which is none. So now we're going to take a look at some of the search terms that have generated no conversions in the last 90 days. And we're looking to consider whether it's actually worth pausing off the keywords completely. Some of these are associated with a Performance Max campaign, which you can't add or remove keywords. You can only negate search terms. So let's get a little bit more granular. So they really want to focus on high ticket items. We're going to take a look at those for cleaning, maybe vent, and then how-to terms. Free is another search term that tends to just not be worth keeping in there, and cheap. That's about $1,349 in spend. So we're just going to add those as negative keywords to the campaign. When you're analyzing these search terms, take a look at not only their relevance to what the campaign objective is, but also the cost per click. Because low cost per clicks are okay, but this, for example, has a $266 cost per click, and it has generated 0 conversions in 90 days. So we're just going to say no thank you to that particular search in that campaign. Taking a look at one for water heaters. So that's a hard one. A new water heater for this particular client is about a $3,000 job. It might be worth paying this click, but it's something that we'll take a side note on and see whether it's worth keeping or not down the road. Things like 24/7 plumber near me, emergency plumbing service. I mean, are we actually going to spend $235 on a click and run the risk that that won't even convert? And the answer is we should be really cautious proceeding with these. And in this particular campaign, maybe even move away from some of those emergency services because the cost per clicks are so high. So once we have analyzed low quality search terms, then we can take a look at those with the CPC, let's say greater than even $100. This is awful. What's happening is there are a lot of searches being conducted for this, which is why the CPC is so high. But are they actually worth it? Is the client likely to earn 10x what they're spending in cost per click? And that's just on a low level. So for that reason, we'll go ahead and click on the blue checkbox and add these keywords as negatives as well. And then given the fact that so many of those low quality search terms were associated with emergency plumber, emergency repair, things like that, it's worth going back to these campaigns and taking a look at the keywords in there to see if it's worth pausing any off. And so then we're going to navigate down to the word keywords. And that was in an emergency service campaign. So we'll take a look at the filters and look at these CPCs. Here's those really high CPCs. And for this reason, it's probably not worth keeping some of these guys on. There are so many different ways to analyze search terms. I really do like to know, what am I wasting money on? Don't find yourself going down a rabbit hole for 8 hours of negating low quality search terms when in fact, in the last 120 days, they haven't spent anything. So be sure to apply that cost greater than $5, conversion greater than 1, and then going right back to the importance of having conversion tracking set up. Make sure your conversion tracking is actually working and generating accurate conversion data so you can make sure that you are, in fact, looking at the search terms that did not convert. Now, let's take a look at those low quality app placements and how Google's display network likes to send you into this hole of spending tons of money and showing very little results other than, hey, look how cheap these cost per clicks are, when in fact they aren't converting into anything. Now, I have to warn you, looking at your app placement report in your display campaign is going to send you into a state of shock, especially if this is your first time doing it. You would not believe, and this is why I am so reluctant to tap into the Google Ads display network without monitoring it closely, because you would not believe the amount of dollars that you are wasting on display placements that are just not converting. So don't be surprised if some of the URLs look strange. The best way that I have found to navigate to this is, of course, you must be in one of your display campaigns. Navigate to the left side where it says campaigns, and just below brand reports, click on when and where ads showed. Then you'll see your device breakdown. You want to go to where ads showed. I know. This is the part where you're just going to be like, oh my God, have I actually been spending this kind of money on topgames.com or Masha Quiz? And the answer is yes. Let's end this. So first things first, I love to implement that first filter of cost greater than $5, conversions less than 1. You can see here that nothing really converted or even all converted at all in this placement. And we spent about $637 over the course of 90 days on these placements. Let's get rid of them. You're just going to simply click right there, edit, exclude from campaign, and that's it. We're done. There's no need. It's like having a bad boyfriend. You do not need those bad placements hanging around and just sucking the life out of you. Removing these app placements is an immediate way to stop draining budget and stop wasting dollars. Highly recommend doing this. And in a display campaign, it's important to do this action on a monthly or every other month, just to make sure that there's nothing else creeping in there. If this episode has helped you better understand the money you're wasting on search terms and low quality app placements, then be sure to like and share and pass the word along to someone who could help better understand, who could use the help to better understand where their money is going in a campaign. I'm April Borovskaya, and we'll see you next time where we dig into how to understand the metrics of success in a Google Ads campaign: impression, click-through rate, clicks, conversions. How do they all come together to form the right picture? And how can you be sure that you're not getting bamboozled by an agency or freelancer that maybe isn't communicating these metrics most effectively? Thanks again, and we'll see you next time. Thanks for listening to Paid Media for the Rest of Us. If today's episode helped clear things up, pass it on to a fellow marketer who needs it. And if you're ready for more real-world guidance, follow and join me next time. Until then, stay curious, stay focused, and keep learning.